Thank you, Solveig, for remembering. Powerful first half of the letter. As you take a minute to just let all of that settle somewhere. Which of the four voices do you think is going to carry with you for a while?
Me, it'll be the children. I think they get it. The whole thing.
I feel like Gail said that the youth really is, I mean, they're so motivated. We are too, but they really are. And I think they're the ones that really have the power, the most power to be enough of an influence to make a change. But it's really impossible to pick which one affects me the most, because all four of them in their own way were just mind-blowing. So much to think about and absorb.
I was affected by all of them, especially as I'm sitting here in my living room in the midst of the desert and wondering if we were going to have to evacuate because of a brush fire. And we've had another episode of having to pack up and get ready to leave already this year. So it's very real to me to think of climate change and being out of my house.
Displaced,
right? Very real.
Sandra, I'm so sorry. I'm sure we'll all be praying for you. So I know what it's like. We went through it up here in Carefree 3 years ago, and it's horrible. And
I've lived here for 40 years and we've never had so much problem with fires, especially, and having to evacuate. One time I had to evacuate 11 times, or in 2011, we had to evacuate 4 times. So climate change is definitely something to work with and be concerned about.
it brings it home that it's real.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, I agree that, they're all compelling. I really like the way this was done, and especially the young man in Senegal who told his life story, how horrible to be taken away from the home that you know and your parents at age 6 and going to a city and having to beg for your food. But at least he had, I think, an uncle to look after him. And he really told the story of the flooding and the drought and everything that is making his people move to resettlement camps, and then why people would risk life and limb going into the sea to try to find a better life. It's horrible. And as they said, there's Senegal probably contributes very little to the carbon footprint, but they're suffering deepest effects, and that's the way it's been designed.
I was touched by the Pope. I mean, all the scenes, or each of the locations has a story, but I don't know that I'd ever thought I'd see the day when Catholicism and the Pope would invite such a diversity of people,
Right.
that there would be a bird, a worship, a tupa, and the Pope was aligned with this somehow and in conversation with us. It expanded the conversation and the connectedness of on so many different levels.
They all affected me, but I mean, I think about all of them. The ones that are affected are the ones that are voiceless and powerless. And especially the folks in Senegal. Those are our colleagues. That's our companion synod. You know, and think about it if the table was turned, and how that would be, and what are we doing? Yeah, that kind of was a kick in the gut.
So, one of the questions that I hope you remember to think about is, where do you connect? Where do you connect with other people in ways like the people in this movie? They got to go see the Pope, and we're not probably going to get to do that in our lifetime. But we do get to connect with other people who have voices and who are active and have leadership. And it may, I would guess that it isn't yet at your diocese or congregational level. If it is, I think you're really lucky. If that's where your climate care conversations are taking place, you are so lucky. Because most of us go to church and we might hear a little bit about it in a prayer. We might get a little thing, but it's not the focus of the community. Healing the planet is not the focus of the community, and every other outreach, stewardship, care flows out of that overarching theme. We're not there yet at local levels. We're there in some organizational levels higher up in the church, in our church, higher up in the Catholic Church for sure. The Laudato Si movement is terrifically organized at the top. So the question is, where do you connect? What's your organization? What's your go-to for inspiration, for action, for information? Because I think it's really important when our hearts are so wounded by seeing the situation, that it's also very important that we be connected with people who are joined in ministry for the earth. So what's your connection? And if you need one, talk about where your passion is in this work, and some of us can probably come up with some suggestions for you. I think it's essential for our mental, emotional, and soul well-being that we find connections.
I'll start because because in the Rocky Mountain Synod, in at least the part of Colorado, has a Care for Creation out of Synod, but supported by Synod, I guess I'd say, team that spans a good part of the entire Synod, which includes Utah and Colorado and Wyoming and a few other places. And we meet monthly and promote creation care possibilities for congregations to pick up on, and recently promoted, and it got passed at Assembly, climate refugee resolution and memorial. So I think it's starting to percolate down a little. And then I belong in a faith and action team at my church, and we do a lot of that work, but I'm not saying it's congregational wide.
Right.
more our team and what we can do and what we put forward, but yeah. So I feel fortunate that there are these avenues to talk and bounce ideas off and do some work, especially at our local legislature. In Colorado, we're lucky we're moving in a number of good ways around climate change, oil and gas limitations like that. So
Good job, Suzanne. Is your congregation a member of Lutherans Restoring Creation?
no, but we use them once a year for our Earth Day services.
Okay,
Yeah, and we've made, I would guess to say, I should say we've made contributions to them,
okay.
monetary.
I'm Mary Steenhoek from Granite Peak in Prescott, Arizona. And Connect, I see some of my fellow workers through one way is a community organization, which I think is in Prescott one of the best organizations trying to speak to climate change. We've worked with the city council and passed a resolution that the city council is to be aware of climate change as it makes decisions, which was a great step in a campaign. But now we're taking on specific programs, which feels really good. You know, whether it's alternative fuel vehicles or whatever it's going to be there. And there's a pattern and an order to it. So you feel like as vast as the problem is, there's something to do. And I did want to comment, I was too shy at the first question, which was how my heart has always gotten taken when I see like the polar bears and their environment and all of that. And I think they're so innocent and they get so stuck in this, and I feel guilt and I just feel sorry. And I think these videos are so great because I haven't seen human beings. Some of those human beings are in the same place, you know. They have to bear the brunt of other people's actions, and it really, that touched my heart. I just saw it in a different light this time and opened up the horizons a little more, and how people are affected, and it is people. Yeah, it was really wonderful experience to watch that.
So how many of you are in Arizona? So Third Act Arizona just launched a chapter, and I would encourage you all to sign up. Third Act is specifically for people and the skill sets older than 60.
Yeah, we're working,
So-
I think it's in Sedona, right? I think yeah.
Some of it's Tucson, Phoenix, and Northern Arizona. They have, so that's a good one. Green Faith is another great organization to connect with. It's a lot of Unitarian Universalists, Quakers, Buddhists, Protestants, and Catholics, and it's really wild, and it's really good-hearted, and it's amazingly optimistic about people working together. So, and it's an interfaith, and that's international, but I don't think Arizona has a green faith circle, but we may remedy that. So those are just a couple of larger places to plug in if you're not already engaged in your community, in your church, or somewhere else. And I just signed up, guys. Some of you are already on this group, the Northern Arizona climate thing. Gail Kinney, Gary and Jean Kaiser, Fran's on that, right? So that's delightful. What an active group of people. And I look forward to learning more about the people involved and the ways that they are working in our region. And then there's Arizona's Cherishing Creation Collaborative, which is also an interfaith effort, part of the Arizona interfaith effort. And I wonder if Colorado might have something similar, whatever your interfaith connections are, Suzanne.
We do. I'm trying to think of their names right now, but excuse me. We've been relying a lot on Interfaith Power.
Yes,
They do quite well. And then we have a Creation Justice, Echo Justice, Creation Justice Ministries that we also use. They're nationwide and on line. And then there is Together Colorado, which is a group of many nonprofits, also faith nonprofits, who work collaboratively for the legislature and off season. Our legislature only is from September till May. I'm sorry, January to May. So there's a very short time when they're in session, but we work with all the committees that are working during the year. So
well, one of the wonders of the climate crisis is that there's a niche for everyone. There, you know, whatever your passion is, whatever your skill set is, whether it's food waste or renewable energy or climate finance, or or biodiversity or wildlife corridors, there's something for you to be plugged into somewhere. And thank you, Fran. Thanks for joining us for this time. We're going to wrap it up here too. And so I'll look forward to hearing more about the ways that you are connected to others and help bring all of us to greater connection when we get together too. Here's a blessing for you,
thank you.
kind of in line with what we've watched with the letter. The world is not lost, but sometimes it seems so. With trees and homes uprooted and people's lives alongside them. With wars raging on and violence unceasing. With the utter randomness of disaster and tragedies that don't seem to discriminate. Blessed are we who cry out, how long, O Lord? The suffering we're witnessing is unbearable. Come quickly. Bring sweet relief and sweet comfort to those in need. Bless those who have lost everything. Bless the helpers, the aid workers, the first responders, the leaders, the peacemakers, the rescue workers, the shelterers, the neighbors. And bless those of us who feel helpless. Give us clear eyes and sharp minds and courageous hearts to know what little we might offer, to ease pain where we are able, to bear witness to what demands to be seen. God, you know the need. You are the beginning and the ending. You have not left us alone. Amen.
Amen.